I can see signing up at the moment. And I've got a big hello to Amanda Murphy, who used to work with us and has just had a baby, so I hope everything is well there, Amanda, and it's delightful to see that you signed up. This Primary Languages Network webinar is called Spring in Your Step. Although I am presenting, you will also find that I'm going to be asking colleagues of mine to speak as well. So we're going to hear from Michelle, who has a Twitter name of @BetsyBell, and from Robert, who is @RobAnthony, and they are going to be sharing their experiences from the real classroom. Plus Will is going to be talking us a little bit around the VLE and sharing the work he's been doing with PE and dance, linked to Jack and the Beanstalk. If you are able to, I'm just going to move it on one slide. You are able to use the hashtag PLNSPR, and we would ask you all please to keep muted during the webinar. You do have the chat option to ask questions, and at the end of the session there's an opportunity to ask other questions. The webinar is being recorded, and then the link will be sent to all the registered delegates. Okay, first of all, welcome to Primary Languages Network. We are really enjoying our time as Primary Languages Network that used to be John Lloyd Network, and we have now over 220 schools that are within the network itself. We work with lots of other colleagues as well, and these webinars are about beginning to share what we do and to allow other people to take on the ideas and use them in their own classrooms. There are symbols here on your screen at the moment from our actual website, and some of the things I mention you may want to go and have a look at. So for example, you might want to look at the Primary Languages blog, because there are ideas on here that you might like to take away and use. You may fancy coming along to the conference, and if you're a network member, you will want to book your place for the conference, and you can do this here via this portal here. When we announce additional webinars, you may want to sign up for those, and you'll be able to do that through the networking twilights, and you can see that here where I'm moving the cursor. And some of you may be encouraged to participate in our Primary Languages Development Award, and you can find out more about that here where I'm circling at the moment with the cursor. If you're not a network member, you're going to be able to access the materials we show you here in the Active Lingo shop, and you'll need to go to the Spanish, the French or the German section depending on which you want to access. Okay, so I'll just give you a moment to look at that screen and think about what I just said in case there's anything you want to make a note of, but of course you'll be able to go back and see this again. Our agenda this evening is as follows. First of all, there's a little bit of network news because we have colleagues from our network who are listening into the webinar. We're going to have a quick look at our virtual learning environment and look at updates, things that we've added and the things that we're tweaking at the moment. We love the VLE. It allows us to be in contact with our schools immediately, and it allows us to have a dynamic relationship with every one of our network schools. And can I remind you that if you are a network member, you're entitled to your free VLE webinar or phone call support from Will, and it can be on any bespoke issue that you have or any area that you want to develop, or it can just be a guided tour of the VLE. And plus you're allowed your one-to-one network consultancy, and that again is part of your membership entitlement. We've seen quite a lot of schools this year, but Robert, Joanne, Michelle, Steph Stewart, myself are all available to come out and talk with you to look at what it is you want to do as next steps in your school. You just need to contact us via our website. And if you have an associate teacher, then Emily will be in touch, because Emily is now our associate network coordinator, and she will be able to help you to plan the best next steps with your associate teacher. The focus of the webinar will be on Spring in Your Step, and we'll be sharing materials from Jack and the Beanstalk in French, Spanish and German, from Fruit Salad Masterchef, which is also in French, Spanish and German, the Planting Song, which is in French, Spanish and German, and the Mother's Day poem, which is French and Spanish. And as you can see at the end, there'll be time for questions and answers. First of all, I'd really like to say huge congratulations to Bethany Glynn here, who achieved the Primary Languages Development Award for Bruce CP at the enhancing level. She did an awful lot of hard work to get there. She's a wonderful MFL coordinator. She's a non-specialist teacher, and she's driving forward with the support of Steph Stewart, wonderful Spanish learning in Bruges CP. And she was supported in achieving this award by Catherine Sims, one of our associate teachers, who is both the mentor and helps the teachers to accumulate all the materials and resources they need to achieve the award. Feedback from the MFL coordinators who are participating in this scheme tell us it puts languages far more centre stage in their schools, and it makes it something that other staff become engaged with, which I think is very important to everybody. And it's an opportunity for you to really reflect on the good work you're already doing and to build on that with next steps that we can support you with. So well done, Bethany. And we do know, because I've seen she signed in already, that Mim Hodgson at St Michael's CE in Holton, they've achieved the Enhancing Award, and the certificate will be coming your way soon, Mim. And we know how much work you've done, and I know that you are one of these people who really believes that it's because of the Primary Language Development Award that Spanish has now become a vital part of the school. So well done, Mim, because I know you've done a great deal of wonderful work over many years, and this is an opportunity for you to celebrate the work you have done. If I could, I'd give you a round of applause.
Go, Mim.
That's Will, if you could hear him, Mim. Okay, network news that's important to everybody. We have a network conference every year, and if you are a network member, part of your membership is an entitlement for one teacher to attend for free at the conference. Anybody who's not a network member can attend for £85. It's a full day, including lunch. Last year we had 144 teachers, and there was such a buzz and such a wonderful learning environment. I think the most important thing is that teachers go away inspired to do more. And this year, because we are now a growing network, we are able to bring together yet more wonderful national speakers. Thanks to brilliant publications, Sue Cave is going to be sponsored to speak on embedding phonics in language learning. Little Linguists are going to sponsor another of our national speakers. Lisa Stevens is going to share with us how you can bring IT alive in the classroom, and I've heard her speak before. She's dynamic, she has really sensible and practical ways of bringing IT into the primary classroom. Daniel is going to talk about progress, and progress, all the types of progress we can make in language learning, not just in content or in skills, but what is progress in primary language learning. And again, I've heard Daniel speak before, and he's very thought-provoking, and he makes me think about language learning. And we have the wonderful Therese Comfort, who was with SILT and was the lead practitioner for primary and the lead education consultant for primary for SILT, and now works as an education consultant still in primary languages. And she's going to look at how we can keep language learning primary, from the tooth fairy in year 2, and having a look at what we'd have in France for the tooth fairy, through to how we can help year 6 children get ready for secondary school. So highly recommended, and you'll see as well that we've got 6 workshops. They're going to be led by some of our experienced practitioners, some who've spoken before, and others who are bringing together some good practice in their classroom that I'd like to share with you all. You can find out more information about our conference on our Primary Languages website. We've produced network clips. These clips are particularly and specifically for our scheme of work. We are using them in our ready-made French and Spanish, and Will is working with Emily and with Irene to produce the clips. They are linked to the Year 3, Year 4, Year 5, Year 6 scheme of work. And so far we've produced clips for Spring 1, Spring 2, Summer 1 and Summer 2. You can access them as a network member from our VLE, and you just go into Ready-Made, you go into the half term, and you click on the clip and it'll play. It teaches the children, and it's really good as well for non-specialist teachers, because it guides you too in how to put together a sequence of learning activities in the target language. We've also shared these clips on YouTube, so if you're not a network member, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you can access from our website, and you'll be alerted when the next clip is put up. I know we've got clips that are all ready to go up for Summer 1 and Summer 2, and it might be that you'd be interested in looking at them. I'm just going to play a short bit of Irene so you can see how she teaches animals in Year 3 through this clip for the children.
Un gato. Un conejo. Un conejo. Un conejo. Un pez. Un pez. Un pez. Una serpiente. Una serpiente.
She's getting the children to join in, to listen and repeat. Instructions appear on the screen and she says them in the target language for the teachers. And every clip has an activity at the end that children can work on in their pairs. We had some lovely feedback from Michelle Hindley about the children at Oldham and Bolton who really believed that Emily could see them through the screen because Emily tells them, I'm now watching you, I'm now listening to you. And the children at Oldham and Bolton know Emily very well because she is also their language teacher. And I had some fabulous feedback 2 days ago in Preston from a head teacher who felt that he could go straight into the classroom, use that clip with the children, help that to teach him and the children, and then the children could go away and create their own clips based on what they'd seen. He loves his music and drama, and we were even talking about a cardboard box with a hole cut out that you could use the screen, and the children could mime and mimic what they've seen Emily or Irene in Spanish or in French deliver, and they could put together their own clips. Or if you're really clever, like some of our associates, you could use different types of apps to record them or put them together in Book Creator and show them on the screen. Okay, I'm going to hand over for a minute now to Will, and he's going to take you through some of the updates to our VLE.
Evening, everybody. I'm sure everybody's thinking the same thing as me. I wish I had a mute all button in my classroom. I think it'd be an easy way of keeping the children quiet, so maybe we can try and invest in that as a future update for the VLE. Today, I just wanted to go through quickly some brief updates on what's happening with the VLE, because we're constantly making it, well, we're trying to make it better, and so we're changing it very frequently, and probably since I've seen some of you in the recent weeks, we've probably made some more changes still, so just wanted to keep everybody in the loop on it, and yeah, we'll have a look. So we'll go to the Primary Languages VLE. Hopefully it'll load nice and quickly. Let me just log in. Okay, so we just wanted to update you on what the front page looks like now, and we have made this change for quite a few months, but some of you may not have used the VLE since then. We've moved favourites right to the top left of your screen, and you'll find all the key elements of the VLE attached to it. You've got your ready-made schemes of work, and you also have MFL coordinator tools, and you've also got your tracking and assessment there. Now, first thing I want you to become aware of is where you find the videos that we've been making. So you can first of all find the videos dispersed amongst the sorry, Janet was trying to point at something then, she's trying to take over. But we're dispersed amongst the half turns worth of work. As you can see here at the top right, c'est Emily les animaux domestiques. Don't kill my French accent, please, Christine. I don't want any feedback on that. I'm learning. And we have here, so c'est Emily les animaux domestiques, and I'll take you straight through to the video. By this time next year, we will have a video for every single half turn's worth of work. Right now, we're just focusing on getting the videos done that are next up in line. So, for example, we're working on the summer terms, making sure that we've got all the videos ready for summer, and then we'll be looking at autumn after that. It's just a logical way of going about it. So we will have all the videos ready for you from now, really, so get using them and get feedback to me, because I really want to try and make this better, and your voice is definitely heard. So if you think there's something better to do, by all means, get back to me and I'll try and make sure we can get on with it. You can also find the videos in teaching resources, and in the Spanish Key Stage 2 Scheme of Work Plus, you're going to find the short, basic Spanish video clips. Now, these are videos that are really easy to make, very useful though. No longer than 30 seconds long, and it's just going to be, here it's just Irene saying even numbers, or days of the week, or counting to 10. Really simple, but very useful videos. We're under the assumption that teachers may use it at the start of a maths lesson, a regular English maths lesson, and they might just do counting 1 to 10 in Spanish. It's your way of incorporating Spanish or languages across the board, across the cross-curriculum. Finally, what I wanted to show you is the track. We've updated the tracking sheets for the Puzzle It Out so that you now have sort of like a grade boundaries to work by. So there's no more subjectiveness towards them. It's now very objective. And you're going to find them in Tracking and Assessment, Puzzle It Out, and you're going to find them then in the Puzzle It Out benchmark descriptors. Nicely, the descriptors afterwards chopped out, but it's there. You're going to find for year 3, 4, 5, and 6 the benchmark descriptors. And in them, it's going to tell you, first of all, here it's going to tell you what you need to hit each one of the levels. And then for each half term, it's going to tell you what is required in the Puzzle It Out assessment to meet criteria. And obviously match, so for example, exceeding can kind of demonstrate ability to do more than the descriptor. So if the child has met all of these here, then they've met expectations. But if they can do more than what is suggested on here, maybe add, maybe do a little bit more to what these are saying, then you're going to give them the exceeding award. So that's a very brief look at the Puzzle It Out. You guys are much more smarted on language teachers than me, so I'm sure you'll get it a lot quicker than I got it, and I didn't get it too slowly anyhow. But here we go. So we are going to move back now to the PowerPoint. Possums. Sally Riley, possums, pushes, used today, year 3, enjoyed playing the game in the playground. Thanks a lot, Sally. Yes, so Sally said that she's just used the Petit Poisson song by Emily, and she said it was really good with the year 3 playing the game in the playground. Okay, finally, I've been reminded by Peter, we're not going to have we're not going to be incredibly smooth today because it's our first one, but I've been reminded by Peter, I need to show you where to find the resources for today. They're going to be found in network resources, and you're going to go to local network meetings, and then in 2007, Spring in Your Step, 2017, Spring in Your Step, you're going to have all the resources for today here. Right then, I'm going to pass you over to the main speaker who's got a posh voice on for you today. I'm going to pass you back over to Janet, and I'll speak to you in a little bit. Okay, let's just go to the slide we need it on. Yeah. Right, back over to Janet.
Hi, thank you very much. Will is working very hard on making the VLE very easy for everybody to use. And if you want your VLE startup phone call or support phone call, there's his address on the screen. Plus, if you're interested in membership options or you're interested in a demo and a 2-week free trial, then please contact him here too, and he can help you with this. We're now going to talk about Jack and the Beanstalk. We created our Spring in Your Step because this is a time of year where in primary schools you're talking about growing things, about being healthy, about the body, you're looking at getting the children to move on in the way they can use language. You've had your Autumn 1 and your Autumn 2. You've got lots of seasonal special activities happening, so you've had World Book Day, Mother's Day is coming up, etc. But you wanted to focus, first of all, on looking at Spring in Your Step and looking at how we could link our learning across the curriculum but make sure that we were still focusing on good quality language learning. Jack and the Beanstalk was created with the idea that it's a traditional tale, it's about growing things, it's engaging for all age groups, it's got a key character that's a boy with a giant the children like talking about. It certainly fits in very well with our scheme of work and where we're moving on to. And it was an opportunity to put together a story pack of learning. Non-network members can buy this from Active Lingo, and network members can get hold of it from the area on the VLE that William just showed you. This is an overview of what Jack and the Beanstalk is all about. So we start with a story rhyme, and the story rhyme has a native speaker with sound files that are easy to use and that your teachers will be able to use, even if they're non-specialists, so the children can follow the story. And we built in a step-by-step sequence of lesson plans, from listening and responding to the story, to performing the story, to recalling it, to working on the nouns in it, to looking at the verbs you can see, to working on the characters, through to reading and writing of our own based on Jack and the Beanstalk. And we realised it was a very active story, so we also built in a PE lesson and a dance lesson. Both the PE and dance lesson have target language sound files and key phrases with them, and are based on using the language linked to the DFE curriculum PE objectives, so that the children can do their PE lesson, but linked with the language they are learning to. You can see here that the arrows show you the worksheets that engage the children in the different activities, and you can also see here that we've been able to develop extra resources such as the character cards for the speaking, and the Beanstalk for your children to actually write on, and the clouds for their own responses to the reading and writing we do, so they can make their own stories. I'm going to play for you 2 slides so you can hear the language that we are using in French and Spanish and German. We've been asked before, could we provide the English transcript, and we've done that. So if you're really not 100% sure of the language you see in front of you, you will be able to see it again in English, so you could use it. Here is Emily and the first slide.
Jacques rampe vers le géant. Rampons tous vers le géant. 1, 2, 3.
The story rhyme has repetitive style to it. So it has the use of a third-person singular verb and a first-person plural verb, and the repeat of 1, 2, 3. It has actions that the children can join in with. So you're going to be asking the children to listen with you, to listen and read with you, to listen and join in, and then add actions that they think are appropriate for what they can read within the text. It's a wonderful opportunity to use bilingual dictionaries, and it's a great opportunity to get groups, small groups of children, to work on their own as groups of, say, 4, to perform individual slides and then put together a spoken domino performance of the whole story. So here's a second slide for you to consider.
Jacques prend les œufs dorés. Prenons tous les œufs dorés. 1, 2, 3.
What I find really interesting here is that you'd be talking about sound spelling links, about the way that there are silent letters. You could be looking at the use of acute accents. You could be encouraging the children to explore the text in quite a high level, or with younger children, you could just be practicing the story. We put together Verb Detectives to allow you then to take the children and look at the language of the verbs, and to associate the verbs with the characters and with the actions that they are associated with, and then to build their own beanstalks. Here's an example, for example, of the simple reading and writing that the children then can get engaged with. There's a simple reading and writing PDF, and then there's a more challenging PDF. But what the children all have to do is read aloud and practice and act out. So we're keeping everybody active in their learning. Ultimately, they're going to be able to create their own story clouds. And I can see these being hung as a mobile in the classroom, being put around a giant beanstalk that you draw as your own class display, having pictures added to them, maybe putting the pictures on the reverse of the clouds. And you'll see that we suggest an extra cloud, but obviously some children you're going to push further. These are some examples from Markland Hill of the beanstalks and what we managed to achieve with the children. And this is done by Tracy and the children, and she's been putting the nouns up the beanstalk in the order they appear, and then the story, the children have decided where they wanted to place the story around the beanstalk as well. I love this because the children have taken ownership of the work. I'm about to bring in a colleague of mine, and this is Michelle Hindley, who has been working on Jack and the Beanstalk with her children at Palace Fields. And we're hoping that Michelle can hear us at the moment. Hi, Michelle, are you there?
Hello, I'm here, yes. Hello, everybody.
Michelle, would you like to tell us, please, what you've been doing with Jack and the Beanstalk? First of all, what age group and how you've been using it?
Yeah, sure. So I decided to do this just last week, following on from World Book Day. All the classes I did storytelling with responded so brilliantly that I just wanted to quickly find a way to bring a bit more storytelling into my teaching. So I decided to experiment with Jack and the Beanstalk and used all the resources with the active lingo. And I decided to try with year 2, 3 and 4. Sorry, go on.
Now, I did see on Twitter that you put that in 30 minutes you managed to do the performance rhyme, which I was very impressed with. So yeah. It is manageable.
It really is, and that was even with the year 2s. Now, I would say the year 2s, well, by the time we got to the rhyme, they were responding to my modelling, perhaps when I was getting them to do Jacques va au marché, and I would march on the spot, and I think most of them were just copying. They were really enjoying it. But with the year 4s, I wasn't modelling it. They, by that point, 30 minutes later, the year 4s had managed to understand and retain the whole verb phrase. Jack's gone to market, Jack's selling the cow, and demonstrated by their actions that they'd retained it, and I could assess them that way. And that's in 30 minutes, so pretty
and
impressive.
I see that on one of the slides that I'm showing, it says that you were finding the matching picture, word and prop. So what did you do with it there, Michelle? Because you took this beyond that which we had done.
Yeah, that was a second lesson. So what I wanted to come in on the second lesson and sort of hand over to them and give them an opportunity to do something with it themselves rather than, just to take it beyond them joining in with the action line, and really see if we can move forward to putting on a small class sketch, really. So yeah. First of all, they came in and the flashcard nouns from the pack were just around the room. We quickly recapped that, and then I got, in a very dramatic way, out of my suitcase, I pulled all of the strange props that you'll see, which I just literally got from Poundland or another cheapo shop. Yeah. I spent about a tenner on them maximum, and they just loved that because it was magical, it was tangible. I distributed them in one way or another, and then for the more able pupils, I'd asked the classroom assistant to give just the written words to the pupils I decided in advance should get them, because that was the hardest thing, to just have the written word. Then at a certain point, they all had to go and find their partner. So we had people with the flashcards standing in the corner. The props went to find them, and the written word went to find them, and they were all in little groups, at which point I just, sorry, I wanted them to practice a little sentence. So they all had a sentence which involved their noun, and it had a little verb in, and they practiced that. I came round to listen to them and assess them, and they really, really loved it. What I would be able to do now is, now they've had a chance to practice that short verb phrases, take them back to the story, get them to join in again and film, and if I can bring it all together, film them doing the little tiny sentence. As a class, we'll have all those segments, we'll be able to join them together in the Adobe Sparks app and have what will look like a play, but rather than them all sitting around and waiting, I can just bring the groups out with the help of the learning assistant to do it while the others are all doing a different task. But the final product will be a nice 3 or 4 minute long play, if you like.
Wow, Michelle, thank you very much indeed, and I'm sure lots of people are going to be able to take lots of wonderful ideas from you. I think that's one of the beauties of this network, that we work together and that people share their ideas, and you're going to be able to find lots of Michelle's ideas by following her on Twitter or working with us in our network, and I have a feeling that Michelle could be one of those presenters at the conference that we share with. Thank you so much, Michelle. And as she said, also it fit in really well because it was part of the cross-curricular Year 2's learning at the same time, and so she was able to link through to the English and the literacy the children were doing. I am going to move on now just briefly to talk about PE and dance. We have lesson plans for PE and dance, and I'm just going to ask Will briefly to explain the Beans game and also the Jack Tag, which are the 2 activities, one for PE and then one for dance.
Hello everybody, I'm back, unfortunately. No, I'm joking. So we have here 2 games attached to the 2 different lesson plans. The Beans game you can get on the Spring in Your Step resources, you can get all the stuff you need there, including the different words in the different languages for the different beans. I'm sure every one of you has played this bean game because you are primary school teachers, but if you have not, you basically reenact the different bean that's shouted. Very easy to bring in vocab for in the different chosen language. This dance lesson then evolves into a follow your leader type lesson where they follow Jack to the market in groups, and then they're going to build their own story into a dance. Now, Robert mentioned a really good thing at the Knowsley meeting today. He's doing like a freeze frame, so each group is doing a little bit of the story, and they're sort of freezing into their part. So it's a very useful way of doing it. And I think he's just trialing that with his class. Sounds like a pretty awesome way of getting a good video. Moving on, so the second lesson is something that I really like. I will mention that I've put the PE attainment targets in on top of all the activities, so you know that you're along with DFE. But I really like this one. We made this lesson about pulse raising, excuse the terrible pun, but we're looking at the use of our heart rates in lessons. And you can go with this however much you want. We've got one activity here which is called Jack Tag, and that involves everybody in the class as Jack, and the people that are on are going to be the giants, so they're going to try and catch as many Jacks as they can. They need to count as many as they got, and then once you ask them at the end of the time, they're going to say in a chosen language, for example, set in French, that means that the child's caught 7 children. They need to count that and say that in the chosen language. But also, at the end of each activity, you're going to take their heart rates and you're going to monitor and see whether they can notice whether their heart rate increases, decreases, what is it per minute, maybe for the higher key stage 2 level. And then maybe you're going to discuss at the end that the higher intensity activity you do, the more your heart's going to work, therefore your heart's going to beat faster. Play with it, but I think introducing heart rates is not something scary. You can link it in with science, you can link it in with PE, and then you can also do counting with it in a language. I'm going to move on now because we have got plenty to get through.
What I find it really exciting is that new people are bringing new ideas to the network, and the PE and the dance has brought a brand new dimension to the way we work. I've always believed that primary language learning needs to go across the curriculum, and that's what we're being able to achieve. And this next little section about the fruit salad Masterchef certainly does that. So in our Year 5 Spring 1, we create fruit salads, and we've always had that within our scheme of work. And this year, Michelle has helped me to create some creative writing sheets that can support all your children. Once again, these writing sheets are available for you to use, but also if you're a network member, you can get them from the VLE, and if you're a non-network member, you can access them through Active Lingo. We use them for writing, and then I love drama. I'm a drama teacher, really, and I just thought, why don't we get the children to act them out and make Masterchef? And that's exactly what we did. We've produced our own Masterchef competitions where the children not only create their own recipes, they then have to perform them. And what's really important is they've got to sell the fruits. For some children, it's been an exploration of fruits they've perhaps not eaten before, and it's all about looking at how you sell those fruits. With older children, you might want to look at them adding adjectives to their fruits, etc. I'm just going to show you some examples of what people within our network have done. So Beth at Crompton CE, they've been able to create their own recipes, and then they've been making plates as their platters, as their recipes. At Steph with her Year 6 and Year 5 has been using the basic recipe to add time connectors, and as she says, she's up-leveled the work the children have been doing. And I received this on Sunday, just after she'd marked these pieces of work. And Kate Kennedy at Penketh Primary has been taking the sheet, this is the fruit salad sheet here in front of you, and creating wonderful recipes with all of the children that they've then been able to read out and perform. And on World Book Day, we were just delighted because Masterchef saw that I'd tweeted them to tell them what we'd done, and we got a like. And what was most important about this was that Kate and Beth were then able to share this with their schools, and the schools were able to celebrate the fact that their children had produced something and that Masterchef have liked it. And it's a great way of reaching out to your whole community. I'm going to play a short clip now, and you're going to see children that Robert teaches performing one of their MasterChef videos. They are in a competition, so the class are competing to be the MasterChef group in that class that's produced the best salad. And then we're going to hear from Robert himself.
No.
Welcome to Masterchef. Lava las manos en croato. Lava las frutas. Goce los guatemaltecos. Cruza la pera. Pon en el bol. Mezcla. Prueba la receta.
That video really makes me smile. It gives me the opportunity to enjoy young children in the classroom and to see what we've achieved with some of the work we do, and I'm very thankful for that. So I'm hoping that Robert is now on the line and we're going to be able to speak to Robert. Hi Robert, are you there? Hi Robert.
I'm live.
Hi. I wonder if you could just talk me through a little bit how you put together the lesson on Fruit Salad MasterChef, or the sequence of lessons, and how successful it was with the children that you delivered this with.
Yeah, of course I can. Well, it fit really nice into the Year 5 unit that we were doing, first of all, about going to the market and buying fruit and vegetables. I'd done the usual kind of standard series of lessons to begin with, where we were looking at fruit and vegetables in the foreign language. We played lots of games to practice those fruit and vegetables, so things like Simon Says, etc. And the children did an action for each of the nouns that we were learning. Then I introduced the verbs from the MasterChef writing support sheet that Michelle's made, which I found really useful. And we did lots of games to practice the verbs. So the children, first of all, I would introduce them. The children have to respond to the mime, and we created some mimes for each action. So for instance, cutting, we were chopping in the air with our hand, etc. Then I got the children in pairs to play mime games where they would mime an action to each other, and then the partner would have to say what the verb was or what the instruction was in the foreign language. And we linked it to writing instructions in English anyway. So we talked about using imperative verbs and the language that they would use when they were writing instructions in English. After that, I think I modelled putting some sentences together for the children, and we talked about what order we would put those sentences in a set of instructions. The children then
Robert, do you find that was a good way of linking to literacy and looking at how we put together text and different types of text in literacy? Did that help the children, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Coming from a primary teacher background, the children really, they could make those connections then. And they always try and make the connections between the native language, or writing in the native language, and in the foreign language. The language of imperative verbs and the SPAG, basically, grammar, punctuation and spelling, is used quite a lot in school at the moment, and children are well aware of that terminology. So I think by using that terminology, one, they understood it, but two, it's reinforcing it for them as well. So not only are we teaching them the foreign language skills, but we're also reinforcing their own knowledge of the syntactic construction of their own language, as opposed to learning, it's reinforcing those grammar skills.
And what age group do you think this is best used with, this Fruit Salad MasterChef?
I really enjoyed using this with Year 5 and 6. At the local network meeting tonight, though, I did say, you know, at a basic level, if you want to do it with Year 3, instead of doing it MasterChef style, it could just be children at the market trying to sell the fruit. So they've got to say the fruit in a very exciting way, as if they stood at a market stall. So instead of the table being their MasterChef table, it could be their market stall table. You could even get some fruit props. And at a basic level, they could just say the names of the fruit in a very exciting voice to try and get people to come and buy them from the market and do a performance in that way, just to make it more drama-based.
I think that's a really clever idea, Robert, and I do like the way that yourselves all take things and use them in different ways and move on with them. And this MasterChef element, was that a good element to have within the language learning? Did that encourage them all to engage and want to perform and show what they could do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think contextualized learning really works for the children. It's a big kind of area that I really enjoy doing. In terms of that aspect, I was a bit worried actually before the class, because I thought maybe they're not going to really go for this. And it was an amazing lesson. I came away like really high and buzzing from it as well, seeing how much the children enjoyed it. They all worked well in groups, and some of those children sometimes can be quite challenging in groups, so I was quite surprised that they worked so well together, really got involved. I did take in some sweets and chocolates as a prize for the winners. All of them got a Haribo at the end, but then the winners got a chocolate. So
I'm going to keep you on the line, Robert, because I'm going to move into the plant pot story, which I know I'm going to share what you've done there as well. I'm just going to explain to people that this is a story we've been using for a long time, and it's one that we think works really well in Key Stage 1 and works well with Year 3, because it's a performance rhyme, but it's also linked to science, and it's linked to talking about growing things. So we need to plant our seeds, we need to water them, we need to put sunshine on them, and they need to grow. And it's something as well that maybe you could use with upper Key Stage 2, and then they could perform it or work with it with younger children. But I'm going to first of all show you the pictures we use, because they can be used as well for children to write their own sentences. And then I'm going to show this short clip. I love this clip. This clip brought sunshine to me when I read it, when I saw it, because it's Robert's children and it's them performing the rhyme. And I think these are, Robert will correct me afterwards, but I think these are Year 2 children.
Yeah, Year 2.
Robert, I love them, and I particularly love that little boy at the end. He was so excited to be engaging. Did you say they were Year 2 or Year 3? I didn't hear what you said before. Year
2.
Year 2. Okay, Robert, do you want to tell me how you got the children ready for that and explain what you did, please?
Yeah, so again, I introduced the pictures first of all to the children in a random order, basically. I just stuck them up on the whiteboard in class. And first of all, I discussed with the children what was happening in each picture and could they order them. So before we'd even started any foreign language, I just wanted to test their knowledge of life cycles in English, first of all. And then we ordered them in the correct order. I gave the children a key word from each picture. So I think for most of the pictures it was a verb. For the last picture it was the word for flowers. And we did an action for each one. So we did the word plant, and the children did an action for plant the seed. Then we did water, and they made themselves into a watering can, a bit like the teapot when you do in that traditional rhyme. Then we did the seeds growing, so they had to get really low to the ground when I said the verb for growing. And they did an action for that. We did lots of games around that, Simon Says, etc., and mime games. Then we looked at I taught them the sentence for each picture. We listened to the action rhyme, the sound file on the Primary Languages Network from the native speaker, and we did the actions along with the native speaker. I think it's Anna doing that one. Then I gave it to the children in groups to practice and perform, and as you can see from the video, that's what we got. I was really impressed, actually,
Well, they appeared so confident, and they were doing that without any prompting, and they were speaking it clearly, and I could understand what they were saying. I was really impressed with that. I think you've done a wonderful job there, really, Robert. And thank you very much for sharing both of those clips with us and the ideas behind and how you worked with them. I know we're going to be hearing from Robert and Michelle again in future webinars, and we're hoping that other people who are online tonight will want to contribute and share. So if you do have ideas and you want to be like Robert and Michelle and come online, then please get in touch, and we will build you into the next webinar or program. We're just going to move on briefly and say that if you're a network member, you can go and have a look at Open and Reveal 4 Corners, which is looking at nouns and adjectives and verbs linked to the fruits that we were looking at in Fruit Salad Masterchef, or potentially using the planting song but growing vegetables. But Jane Dewsnip loves this. She's used this before when she's just been looking at nouns, but here you can add adjectives. So you can play a game and have to be able to add or say different adjectives until you can reveal the fruit that's underneath. So that might be something that our network members want to have a look at. And finally, I'm going to share with you our Mother's Day poem. We've put that out on Twitter and on Facebook and through YouTube. We've filmed it in both French and in Spanish. Emily wasn't available on the day for her face to be in it, so in French you don't see Emily, but you hear the beautiful language and the music behind it. The feedback we've had on this is from different people. One, how sweet and lovely it is. Two, how it's not just about mums, so it works with that special female person in your life. It could be the teacher, it could be a TA, it could be a carer, it could be your grandma, it could be a sister or a friend, and therefore you don't need to feel frightened about using this next week to practice for Mother's Day. And the music is appropriate as well. We've kept the language simple, and we've produced a lesson plan and a writing activity, which is a book of hearts that you might like to use. Network members, you can access this in seasonal specials in spring too, and non-network members, again, if you go to Active Lingo, you'll be able to access this. I'm just going to play this one for you so you can see how sweet and simple it is, and hopefully you'll understand what we can see here.
El Día de la Madre. Esta persona es guapa. La persona es amable. A esta persona le gustan las flores. A esta persona le gusta el chocolate. Esta persona me quiere. Yo quiero a esta persona. ¿Quién es? Eres tú.
I'm going to say thank you to Irene because she's actually watching at the moment. So I'd like to say thank you to Irene for that wonderful clip. And Irene has been working so hard on creating materials for us. She works at 7 o'clock in the morning with Will on these films. And she's bringing such a lot to how we are able to support you in teaching your Spanish. And Emily is doing the same in French. So thank you very much. And I know that Emily has joined us too. If you would like to access the resources, here on this page it explains to network members where you need to go, okay? And if you follow these steps on the VLE, you'll end up in Spring in Your Step, and you can use these. And the Mother's Day poem is in seasonal specials. If you are a guest, you need to go to Primary Languages Network, access Active Lingo, and go to the Active Lingo shop. You'll be able to access them both in French and Spanish, and some of them in German. And if you select Spring, it will show the resources and you'll be able to purchase them online. We're moving now just into an area where if you have any questions, we'd love to answer your questions, and they'll appear for me in the screen now.
So what Janet's saying there is if anybody has any questions regarding the resources or anything in general in terms of MFL coordination, we'd love to try and answer them right now. So if you press on the chat button below the screen on the toolbar and then type in your message there, we'll be able to see it and we'll be able to answer any questions. So we'll leave it for a couple of minutes, and if there's no questions, cool, and then we'll call it there. But if there is, then we'll obviously answer the questions. So feel free to fire away, basically. Yeah. Say with the future meeting.
Oh, yeah. Just whilst you're thinking of questions, there will be a sequence of summer term webinars as well, and the next one is scheduled for May. And if you watch out for that, it will appear on Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, and via your email links that we have. You'll also be able to access smaller webinars as well, where we'll be looking at very specific areas, such as looking at how we can use apps, or how we can look at phonics, or how we can look at the VLE. So do watch out for those as well. And we hope that some of you may be able to join us for the conference, and in the conference find out more ways to use our materials and resources, or bring your own ideas that will be dynamic and add to what we do. Thank you very much. There's some lovely comments coming through. We're just looking to see if there are any questions. Yeah, yeah. and we're reading what they say, and I have to say it's humbling. Okay.
I remember that.
Amanda Murphy says, how many webinars will there be? There'll be, Amanda, as many as there is a demand for, and actually I would suggest that if you send Will your suggestions via email, he can begin to put these webinars together. We think it's a great way of reaching a lot of people. There actually are about 80 people in total that have signed up to listen to this, who can't necessarily listen at this moment, but will listen in the near future. Yeah. Thank you from Yvonne. There's some lovely comments just saying that people have really enjoyed watching this and seeing this and listening in. Yeah, and we've had people from the Netherlands and from other countries as well that have been listening. I've got to thank Will, who's been by my side all the way through. And if you know Will, you know he's been supporting me all the way because he really is our tech person. And I think we'll leave it at that. I think we might finish with that wonderful music we heard at the beginning. It's Hit the Road, Jack, if William can find it. It entertains me, and actually it fits beautifully with Jack and the Beanstalk. Thank you so much.